What if I told you that the person you trust most in the world, the person who shares your bed, your dreams, your entire life, was living a double life right under your nose? My name is David, and 3 months ago, I thought I had the perfect marriage. I was wrong, dead wrong. And what I discovered while my wife thought I was at work will haunt me forever. But before I tell you how my world came crashing down, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss stories like this one. Let me paint you a picture of my life before everything went to hell. Sarah and I had been married for 6 years, college sweethearts who somehow made it work in the real world. She was a graphic designer working from home, and I was a project manager at a construction company. We had our dream house in the suburbs, 2 cars, and we were even talking about starting a family. Sarah was perfect. At least, that's what I thought. She'd wake up early to make me coffee before work, always remembered the little things, and never complained when my job required long hours or weekend calls. She was supportive, loving, and I genuinely believed I was the luckiest man alive. Sure, she'd been acting a little different lately, more secretive with her phone, taking calls in the other room, claiming she was just busy with work projects. But I trusted her completely. Why wouldn't I? We were solid. We were forever. God, I was such an idiot. It all started on a Tuesday morning in March. I was supposed to be at a job site about 2 hours away, overseeing the foundation pour for a new office building. But at 7 a.m., the concrete supplier called with equipment problems. The pour was postponed until the next day. I decided not to tell Sarah immediately. I figured I'd surprise her, maybe take her out for lunch, spend some quality time together. We'd both been so busy lately, and this felt like a gift from the universe. I stopped at her favorite bakery and picked up those almond croissants she loves, grabbed some fresh flowers, and headed home around 10 a.m., feeling like husband of the year. But when I pulled into our driveway, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. There was a car parked across the street that I recognized. A black BMW with a small dent on the rear bumper. It belonged to Marcus, Sarah's ex-boyfriend from college. Now, I knew about Marcus. Sarah had been upfront about their relationship when we first started dating. They'd been together for 2 years, pretty serious, but it ended when he graduated a year before her and moved to Chicago for work. She always said it was amicable, that they'd just grown apart. What she'd never mentioned was that Marcus had moved back to town 6 months ago. I sat in my car for what felt like hours, but was probably only 10 minutes, staring at that BMW and trying to rationalize what I was seeing. Maybe he was just visiting. Maybe Sarah had mentioned he was back in town and I'd forgotten. Maybe this was perfectly innocent. But deep down, I knew. You know how you just know. That sick feeling in your stomach that tells you your world is about to implode. I grabbed the flowers and croissants and walked up to my own front door like a stranger. My hands were shaking as I put the key in the lock. The house was quiet, but I could hear voices coming from upstairs, from our bedroom. Sarah's voice. And his. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, listening to my wife laugh at something Marcus said. It wasn't the polite laugh she used with acquaintances or even the comfortable laugh she used with her girlfriends. This was intimate. The kind of laugh that comes from shared secrets and inside jokes. I climbed those stairs one step at a time, each creak of the wood sounding like a gunshot in my ears. The bedroom door was slightly open, and I could see inside. They weren't in bed together. They were sitting on the floor by the window, looking at what appeared to be a photo album. Sarah was wearing the silk robe I'd bought her for our anniversary, and Marcus was in jeans and a t-shirt, sitting close enough that their shoulders were touching. But it was what Sarah said next that broke me. "I still can't believe you kept all of these," she whispered, turning a page. "I thought you would have thrown them away years ago." "I could never throw away our memories," Marcus replied. "Even when I tried to move on, I kept thinking about us, about what we could have been." I pushed the door open and walked in. The look on Sarah's face wasn't guilt. It wasn't shame or fear or even surprise. It was relief, like she'd been waiting for this moment for months. "David," she said, closing the photo album, "you're home early." Apparently not early enough, I managed to say. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. Marcus stood up slowly. Look, man, this isn't what you think. Really? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Because what I think is that my wife is sitting in our bedroom in the robe I bought her, going through old photos with her ex-boyfriend while I'm supposed to be at work. So please enlighten me. Marcus hadn't just moved back to town 6 months ago. He'd been back for over a year. They'd run into each other at a coffee shop, started talking, exchanging numbers just as friends. But it had grown into something more. They'd been meeting regularly while I was at work. Not just physical, though there was that too, but emotional. They'd been planning a future together. Marcus had taken a job here specifically to be close to her. They'd been looking at apartments together, discussing when and how she would leave me. I never meant for it to happen this way, Sarah said, tears streaming down her face. I love you, David, but I'm not in love with you. I haven't been for a long time. Marcus and I, we have history. We understand each other in a way that you and I never did. The cruelest part? She'd been waiting for the right time to tell me. After our anniversary, after the promotion I'd been working toward, after I'd finished the big project at work that had been consuming my life. She'd been planning to destroy my world, but she wanted to time it conveniently. I won't lie to you. The next few weeks were the darkest of my life. I moved into a hotel, then a furnished apartment. I threw myself into work because it was the only thing that made sense anymore. Everything else felt like quicksand. Sarah moved out of our house within a week. She took half of everything, including half of my heart. I'd come home to empty spaces where her things used to be, like a museum of my own failed life. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. She married Marcus 6 weeks after that. But here's the thing, and this is why I'm telling you this story. The betrayal nearly destroyed me, but it also saved me in a way I never expected. 6 months after my world fell apart, I met Jennifer at a work conference. She was an architect from Portland, smart and funny and real in a way that Sarah never was. We started as friends, began dating long distance, and last month she moved here to be with me. Jennifer knows my whole story. She's seen me at my worst and somehow chose to love me anyway. And what we have is different from what Sarah and I had. It's honest. It's built on truth instead of convenience. I used to think that betrayal was the worst thing that could happen to a person, but I was wrong. The worst thing that could have happened was staying in a marriage with someone who was capable of living a double life, someone who could look me in the eye every day while planning to leave. Sarah did me a favor, even though she didn't mean to. She freed me to find something real. If you're watching this and something feels off in your relationship, trust that instinct. Don't ignore the signs like I did. You deserve someone who chooses you every day, not someone who's just waiting for the right time to break your heart. Thanks for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real stories about love, loss, and everything in between. And remember, sometimes the worst thing that happens to you ends up being the best thing that ever happened to you. You just have to survive long enough to see it.